Do 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 do. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beginning Brushstrokes. My name's Wolfhawk, and welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have had a pleasant week. I'm just kind of killing time before we start our new project. This is just a figure I've been working on for a while. The Paladin. I'm kind of making him look a little cool, kind of World of Warcrafty. I'm particularly proud of the sword. Let me get a little closer and focus a little better. Because I finally figured out how to control that. There we go. So as you can see, if you look closely on the flames, you can see how it goes from like a dark gold up to a bright yellowish white. That was a little experiment of mine, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'm just going to keep working on cleaning him up a little bit. I got the wash in some places and that it shouldn't have been, and he's not 100%, but that's okay. That's okay. We're just starting, so things are okay. There's no such thing as it being wrong. So, welcome to the show. Feel free to post anything in the chat box. I've figured out how to turn that on. If there's any audio issues, any sound problems there, let me know. I'm also listening to some music on Spotify, assuming everything's running the way it's supposed to. You should also be able to hear what I'm hearing. So I just have it set to like a general classic 70s, 80s, 90s, because we're in 80s mode, but that'll be in a little bit. I just want to kind of hang out, see how many people stop by, and then we'll get into the real project. So here we go. All right, what did I want to do with him? Yeah, let's fix the gold a bit. I've got way too many different colors running around on this guy. It was originally supposed to be a bright yellow, but it didn't turn out right. So what I'm going to do is first bring my paints over here. There went my trash box. Always something when I'm streaming. And let's see here. I figured out how to make a nice gold color, totally by accident, which is usually the best way. And I have some surprises later that I have been itching to show. Where's my Sweet Home Alabama? There we go. I found an old brush. I'm just using it as a mixing brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be mixing candlelight, a little bit of candlelight yellow to a little bit of my dragon bronze, and it gives me at a 1-to-1, about a 1-to-1 ratio. It gives me a nice gold color. So I hope it comes out well and you guys can see it and enjoy it. But since there's a lot of yellow on here and I'm going to be redoing everything, we're going to put a little bit more than usual. 1, 2, 3, 5 drops of yellow. And of course my neighbor decides to mow his yard right when I start. Couldn't have done it the past 2 hours. No, I had to wait till I started recording. So I apologize about that, but neighbors, what can you do? And I will be right back because I left my paint stirrer in the sink from when I washed it last night. Be right back. we go. I left it on the desk. I'm almost glad that there's no one in right now. I feel so embarrassed. I am such a novice at this. It's just not good. I apologize, my friends. Oop, and a little bit of icky stuff. Ugh. See, now we're getting a nice gold color. And we have paint on the fingers already, so there we go. We've got paint on the fingers. Just put that there so we always know where it is. Alrighty. And get rid of that. And let's get our... Well, let's go with our number 0 brush. Our 0 round brush, just to cover the big areas. And then I've got a special brush for the fine detail work. So here we go. Take a little paint, a little bit of water, just to kind of get the flow going a little better. There we go. And I'm just going to go right over what I've previously painted, because it's just, he's a bit of a wreck. I'll be honest, he's a bit of a wreck. I was just trying with a bright yellow, and it just did not turn out quite the way I wanted it. Just go slow. Keep our brush just nice and smooth along the edges. Just like that, just like we're shaving a... Let me just move him a little. There we go. Just like we're shaving a balloon. You remember those old kid games you used to play at like fairs and stuff? Well, I did anyway. Where they had you know, if you shaved a balloon, you'd win a prize, and if it popped, you just got covered in, you know, shaving cream. I miss games like that. You don't really see much of that stuff anymore, and that's a shame. It's a shame. Well, that's odd. We got two little hairs, just two little bristle hairs, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There we go. Hmm, that was odd. And just use the tip of my brush and the side just to kind of give him a nice smooth coat. Work around the kitty hair. So how was your weekend, my friends? I had an uneventful weekend, which is my opinion, uneventful week, I should say. Which is one of the best kinds of weeks. Doesn't means there's not been any trouble. Things are just going pretty okay. So I hope you guys, I hope you, my friends, had a pleasant week. Let's see here. What's new in the world of geek culture right now? Well, they're gearing up for the new World of Warcraft expansion and have started releasing the trailers. And all I can say is, for the trailers being that good, that should have been the Warcraft movie. It probably would have done a lot better in theaters. Mm. Boy, do I love these sable brushes. Just make everything so much smoother and easier to cover. And remember, I think it's, for me, I'm always just going to pull up and pull back and give it a little twist. Pull back and a little twist. And see how it gives the brush a nice fine point. That's what we want. And I think I'm just going to I think it's easiest just to hold the towel up so that way you don't push it against the desk and forget about it and then, pull it at an angle. That's bad. You know what? I think I'm going to take a little bit of this yellowish gold. No, I think I forgot. This shoulder pad right here. I guess it's a wrist guard, maybe? I'm not sure what you would call it. I'm just going to go over this blade a little bit. Just where the flame meets the blade itself. Give it a little more yellow tint. And then I'll let that dry. And ooh, AC/DC. We got some AC/DC playing. I hope you can hear it. If not, let me know in the chat box. And I think I'm going to take a dark silver and go against the blade this side of the blade where the flame isn't, so that way it's kind of like a normal. No, you know what? Scratch that. I'm just going to leave him alone. I'm going to leave that alone. Ooh, yeah, I can tell he's already starting to look a lot better with this yellowish gold drawing. I think that's part of the reason a lot of people didn't like Iron Man 3. They got rid of the AC/DC. I mean, when you have that established in the previous two movies, just to take it away wasn't the smartest move. A lot of people had the problems with the Mandarin on that. And rightly so. I mean, when you had just that whole opening sequence, that whole first third, and he's just menacing, and Ben Kingsley is just doing a perfect Mandarin, and then to find out it's all fake, that's a bit of a blow. Now that said, there was that one shot they did called "Hail to the King," and I think personally that Ben Kingsley was the real Mandarin all along, just playing the idiot. Because I'm if someone was playing, if someone was impersonating me, I would rather get into his organization and tear it apart than just kill the guy. So, for everyone who had a problem with Ben Kingsley's Mandarin, I think it was all a fake. I have nothing to back that up, but that's just my headcanon, since I don't think we're ever going to get an answer to that question. Okay, now there's here on the shield. I'm going to zoom in just a little. I take that back. That's as far as I can zoom in. Okay, well, you see these little grooves here? Well, I've got a little brush. I'm going to take this yellow gold and give some highlight to this, because I want this to look like, a halo. Give it a little halo effect. So I have a very nice brush just for that purpose from the Army Painter Company. Now, they don't put sizes on their brushes. They just call them names. This is Wargamer Detail. And to give you an idea as to how small this bristle is, here's the number 0 round. And then here's the detail brush. It's much thinner, much more finer point. And you don't need a lot of paint. You just dip the tip in and just, there you go. Real slow, real careful. The paint is, water, and water tends to flow to the lowest point, so you just let gravity do its thing. And suddenly, you have, instead of a big blotch of dark gold, actually I need to put on my eyes for this. And just real careful. All you gotta do is just basically push the brush and the paint will go where you want. You don't have to drag it too hard. And I finally discovered the trick to painting for long periods of time. I have an old keyboard rest, and I'm using that to rest my wrists on, and boy, has that been a bit of a godsend. I'm just going to put this bright gold here on this fine detail work. Then I'll have to come back with a sapphire blue to cover over what I missed, and also to probably touch up the gold I hit. But see, I'm getting this really fine detail on on these angel wings. I've never been able to get before. So yeah, this was $6 well spent. Now, say I want to get right here on the blade, I can just get this really fine line right where I want it. It's rather warm in the house today, so my palette's drying out a little faster than I'd like. It wasn't totally dry. I've got some paint on my fingers. So I have been looking into getting a wet palette to help prevent. I'm going to turn on get a little bit more light. So now, if you can see, sorry, I have to shift around and work on the focus. Okay, there we go. But right there it's a little hard to tell, but there is the camera doesn't really pick it up, but there's a bit of a lighter gold halo now, so that's good. Just give my brush another wash. Just look over areas that yeah. I just there's still just a bit of blue showing. These pauldrons in particular have been a bit difficult to work with, but that's okay. And you just want to, smooth out your brush strokes. Yeah, oh, he's looking a lot better. He's lost a bit of detail, but I'll go over that again with the shade. Because I got another brush to use for that. It ain't me. It ain't me. I know Senator's son. No. It ain't me. It ain't me. Here's the singing portion of tonight's program. Oh, he looks so much better. Now we're going to set you aside and let you dry. And we're going to get to tonight's main event. Because we've been recording about 30 minutes, so it's time to start. And here she is. Now, I didn't get any feedback on names, so I'm going to call her Altera for now. But she's been through a lot, Miss Altera. She's lived a hard life. So I primed her. I sanded as much of the mold lines as I could find, so she's about as good to go as I can get her. So here we go. I'm going to start with the face, and I'm going to use, there you are, a color called Maiden Flesh, just as a base, and then I'll go over her with a the Agrax wash, just to darken it up a little, but I don't want it too dark. And since it's not going to take long, I'm just going to use the side of this palette. I'll send it. SOS to the world. Hope that someone gets my. Hope that someone gets my. Jenna. My entire music background came mainly from Guitar Hero. I didn't know any. I mean, I would know songs, but I didn't know who sang them or anything. But thanks to the Guitar Hero and Rock Band series, I finally started getting into music. Okay, so here we go. There we go. She's got this nice little, like, half shaved head thing going, and that just immediately to me screamed 80s punk. I also thought about maybe making it a little pink area, like a little a little rough pink to like it's a scarred area that, or like a burn area. But that means I'd really have to watch Revenge of the Sith a lot. And as much as I love Revenge of the Sith, there are other Star Wars films I'd rather watch. And I have opinions on current Star Wars fandom, which I don't want to ruin anyone's night with, but let's just say a lot of people need to grow up and get out of their mother's basements and stop harassing poor actresses. Alright. So while that dries, let's think about hair. Well, actually, I already know what color her hair is going to be. um, and we're going to really try some pinks and brilliant colors on this one with just a little bit of shading. So I don't know why the one camera's not working right. Let me see if I can fix that a little. There's a bit of lag or something. Oh, I disappeared. Well, considering it it was a free webcam, I'm not going to argue too much because it was kind of. All right, so we're going to take a lot of white, a lot of white. I don't want it to be a brilliant red. I just want it to be white. So I'm looking at maybe a 5-to-1 ratio for 5 drops of dragon white. To 1 drop of brilliant red. And even then, I think that may be just a bit too much red. But we'll see. We'll see. Almost reminds me of a candy cane. And before you ask, yes, they do make fluorescent pink color paint, but I couldn't get it here in time for the show, and really all I could think of was using it for this one model, so I'm like, it's not worth buying the whole bottle for just one model. You know, that's actually a pretty nice carnation. I'll have to remember that formula. I don't know what I'm listening to now, but it's some sort of rock Spanish. I wish I understood. I haven't had Spanish since high school, so I have no idea what they're saying. Sounds good, though. Hey, te quiero. I know that. Hey, corazon. That means heart. Yeah, the problem with living with 2 long-haired cats is no matter how often you brush them, you still get their hair everywhere. Ooh, yeah, that's coming out really nice. Ooh, I like that. Can you, let's see if I can get it close. I like that. A couple more coats and she'll look really, really nice. Now, just cover over the face again. And a little spot behind the ears. Just to clean that up. There we go. Yeah, Atea is starting to come out pretty nice. Quite happy with her. I'll be right back. I'm going to get my snips just to snip this one loose hair, because no matter what I'm doing, it keeps coming loose and it's starting to worry me. Maybe have some more light may help the camera a little bit. And we're going to change the song. I don't know what it is, but I like to be able to listen to one that I can understand. There we go. Sabbath. You know, I'll never forget the first time I heard this song. Rock and Roll Racing. Came out around 93, 94 by a little unknown company at the time. Blizzard Entertainment. That's right. The guys who now pretty much own all of South Korea. One of their first major hits was Rock and Roll Racing. I'm pretty sure it was Sega's answer to Super Mario Kart. Man, that is just a nice rose. That is a really, really nice rose. Let me clean up the zoom a little bit so you can see it. One day I will have a desk big enough I can do all this. One day. See? It's kind of like a nice carnation. It's really nice. It's a good contrast to the Maiden Flesh. This may sound odd, but I'm having flashbacks to my crayon days with Crayola, and I would always organize my colors And for some odd reason, I would always put carnation pink next to peach, because those were my pastel versions of red and orange. I always had a system: yellow, red, orange, brown, black, blue, green, purple. And then I'd just organize every color after that as close to that system as I could. No, I'm not obsessive compulsive at all. Okay, now the reason for the pink hair is I've been waiting a while to break out this color. I saw it in the store when I do 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 bum 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 bum. The black in the sack. I love listening to music. I hope. I'm sorry. I know you guys probably can't hear it, but here's the color. It's from a company called P3 Privateer Press, um, and here's the name, Murderous Magenta. I was like, ooh, I needed a magenta, and then I saw the name. I'm like, sold. That's perfect for this one figure I'm working on. Oh, it looks good. I can't wait. But then I'm like, you know what? That'd look even better on her. Now, since it's a pot, I'm going to take my old brush and I'm just going to move paint from the pot to my palette. That's the downside to pots that I've so far experienced. Is, there's all this paint stuck in the brush that, could be on the model. Since this is the base color, we really need a lot. There we go. That may be a bit too much, but we'll see. We'll see. And I can't wait to play with this a little bit and get some shades going. One thing I have noticed with the Privateer paints is their pigments seem to be a little thicker than the Reaper paints I've been using almost exclusively, so it's been kind of a learning experience just with that. So here we go. This is going to be our main armor color with silver highlights. Oh, I was afraid of that. I wondered what was going on. I had run a test on another figure. I was wondering why the paint wasn't sticking in certain areas. Okay, we have learned something today. Reaper paint sticks to Reaper primer. Non-Reaper paint does not stick to Reaper primer. And I forgot to turn my phone off. Okay. Let's just find that little hair and snip. I gotta be really careful I don't snip half the brush. Oh, there, it got back in line. Yeah, she's going to take a few coats because the paint's kind of just running off her. Yeah, I'm not too keen on that, but so we learned something. If we're going to use any paint other than Reaper, do not prime it. Well, with the Reaper, yeah, that's kind of what I've learned, just internet-wise, is Reaper tends to be a little finicky when it comes to other stuff. Kind of disheartening, actually, but that's okay. It's all learning experience. You learn what works, what doesn't, and that's why the name of the show is Beginning Brushstrokes, not Master Brushstrokes. Then after a while, your brush will get saturated with paint. You just rinse it off and get your nice little point back. So Winnie the Pooh, I guess, I'm sorry, Christopher Robin came out this week, and I want to go see it. When you grow up with Winnie the Pooh, you just have to, you know? You can judge me all you want. I don't mind. But Pooh got me through some rough times, so. She's got some foot, weird foot, boots. I can't really tell where the boot starts, and because it's almost like she's wearing high heels. But I just want to get the color on. Yeah, what color am I going to do her? She's got like this little loincloth skirt thing. I haven't decided what color I want to make that yet. Maybe a nice dark blue. Since magenta is kind of a bold color, it needs bold colors to work off of. Let's see here. Well, let's break out our color wheel and see here. Alright, so we're kind of looking at a red-violet. So, a complementary color would be like a yellowish green. Okay. So, let's take my cat's eye green and we'll lighten it up a little with the candlelight. Now, I don't know if you should shake them every time, but it's probably just a good habit to get into. Yeah. Alright, let's see how that looks when it dries. Because remember, the color on the palette is not the color you will get. It's always going to dry a little darker. So, but you know, I have learned something. Magenta works better as a highlight shade color than as your main base. Because it's a bit overpowering color. Whoops. That's going to take a bit of touch up to do. And just if you overload the brush, you can just pull back, and it's called wicking, and it gives you your fine point again, and also gives you better brush control. It's good practice just to do it after every time you load paint into the brush. Just a bit too runny. I feel like I'm having to fight the model instead of letting I'm having to fight the primer instead of having the primer, work with me. And that's never a good thing. Okay, let's break out our base brush so we can get this shield taken care of. And for that, since we're going with the dark all over the place, we'll just break out the blade steel. Whoa, okay. That's not good. I accidentally popped the top off the dropper. That's bad. It's going to take a few coats for that to clean up a bit. Yep, it's bold night here. Yeah, because now that cat's eye yellow mix is just, well, becoming kind of a limeish green is the only way I can describe it. You know, uh, this was definitely a learning experience. I think I'm gonna stop with her. I know you say you can't ruin a figure, but I've come pretty close with her. So I'm just gonna stop. And I've learned something. Magenta's good for capes and accents, but to do an entire figure, nothing about her is, with the exception of the head and the hair, just none of it came out right. And at least to me. If so, but I'm not gonna strip her. I'm excuse me. I'm just gonna you keep your mistakes so you can learn from them. So, but we still got a while to go. So let me just take a second here to clean up my brushes, clean up my palette, take a 5 minute break, get some water, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we're back. So what we're going to do is first off, just relax. It's okay. You know, when you're bummed, it okay, here we go. Drink some water. I apologize for that, but apparently part of my chair ended up in it. Ugh. So that's a clip. That's going into the clip file. So what we'll be working on instead is something special. This is for a good friend of mine. And I've been debating what to do for color scheme. But I think I'm just going to go with some dark browns, and here she is. She's like a rogue, so we'll go with some like dark browns, grays, you know, kind of make her stealthy looking. Maybe give her cape a nice deep blue or navy or something. Whoop. And someone just entered a text. And I just got a happy little notes. Somebody is okay, so let's see here. First, let's start with the face. And we'll go back to our maiden flesh. Even though she's most definitely not a maiden. Call her a maiden and she'll rip your arm off and feed it to you. One of the advantages to having a squirt bottle to refill your what I want to call it, rinse well, wash well, dry well, wet. The thing you put the bristle, the paint. Wow. Okay, doobie doobie doo. Let's see here. Go back to our number 0 round brush, because I think that just seems to be working quite well. Now she's not primed, so I'm fully expecting multiple coats on her, but that's okay. That's okay. Mm. And actually, the person who I'm making this for is making something else for me. And I'm not going to tell you all what it is until it's ready because it's super special. And I don't know why I went super special. I do that a little too well, don't I? Sorry, important text I have to take care of for family. Okay. Hmm. Now, is that her cloak or. Let me just. No. No, that's part of her armor, I think. Yeah, because these little curly cues go right up under it, so yeah. Yeah, it's just part of her armor. Okay. Excuse me. So let's see here. I don't want to use the. Well, let's take the dark highlights. Give that a good shake. And. Because I want a light brown, but I don't want too light. So let's just do like a 4-to-1 ratio of that to our. I'm just going to use regular white. So 1, 2, 3, 4 drops. Give that a nice shake. Wish I knew how that keeps happening, even though I wipe off the. And 1 drop of just plain old solid white. Apparently I had some dragon blue on my fingers when I was. Alright. Where did I put? Mm-hmm. Where did I? I just had that stir. Well, that's why I always carry a backup. This was actually a X-Acto knife where the blade broke off, but it makes a very nice little paint scraper. And look at all those colors. There we go. Just scrape it back and forth. Can't hurt anything. It's just plastic. It's kind of like a dark chocolate milky brown. Just dip that in the water real quick and then just wipe it off with my paper towel. Put that someplace I can easily spot it. Yeah, I have pretty much created a you know, chocolate milk color. Let's see here. Oh, I like this. I like this color a lot. Yeah, this is a nice leathery color. Almost like a light football color. Just use that as the base for all this armor. Oh, her sword has a little cutlass blade guard there, so I need to be careful. I'll need to remember that. It's not part of her gauntlet. Has kind of like a weird skull faceplate on the left knee. At least my neighbor finally stopped mowing. That was a tad distracting. Oh, hello. Hello, welcome to the show. Nice to know that the overlay I got that told me when people were in the chat room typing was supposed to pop up works. Oh, that's right. This is a different overlay. I haven't installed that overlay on this yet, just on my Okay, the face looks, yep, it's dry, so time for another coat of the flesh tone. And then she's going to have jet black hair with a little surprise in there, because this is actually based on a custom character a friend of mine has. So I already know the color scheme. I just have to make it look right. It can be. It really can be. Um, that's why I have my magnifiers. But since we're just doing a base coat right now, we're not doing fine detail. We just want to get the paint on the figure. So the nice thing with base coating is it can be as sloppy as you want it to be. You don't have to be exact. Yep, I am definitely going to call this chocolate milk brown. Okay. So let's think here. I want a nice blue, but kind of like a Batman blue. Let's see here. That's a little too bright. Well, let's try this true blue. If it's a little too bright, we can always darken it on a second coat. Because we always have to remember the paint is darker dry than wet. So if it's a bright color, it's going to dry darker. And I think the blue would be just a nice contrast. And then we can shade it in with some dark grays and stuff. Because really, this kind of reminds me of a Batman blue. Oh, that's her hair. Yeah, all these little crevices and cracks are going to be fun to highlight and shade, and good practice, good practice. And this week was pay week, so I ordered a few more figures on the way just to get even more practice. They're actually duplicates of the figures that came with my painting kit, so I can get more practice with the techniques, but be able to follow the painting guide. And I actually bought the figures that are supposed to come with the kit. By the way, did I mute my music? Yes, I did. So now you can listen along with me. Good time. That is assuming the widget I installed on my Twitch channel is working. Oh, it's not? I'll have to see what I didn't turn on. Unfortunately, my internet's been running a little wonky, so I can't run, a Twitch on my tablet at the same time just to see what you guys are seeing. So, if there's any issues, let me know. Because I don't. Is there something on it that says Spotify? Let me see here. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm limited to Spectrum or Spectrum. I want these to be a little different brown so they stand out a bit. Let me just scoot back here, see if I can. On the plus side, I am getting a second monitor, so this will be a little easier. Extensions. Not extensions. How's the audio sound, by the way? Is it tinny? Is it sounding too loud? Too soft? Hmm. I'll have to keep looking to see what's going on there. So, sorry about that. I'm making these a little lighter brown so these shoulder pads stand out a little bit more. Well, that hood wasn't completely dry. Got a little bit of blue mixed in with the brown. Yeah, Also, I need to have a long talk with Spectrum. I have gone from 2 megabyte per second download rates to 200 kilobyte for this, and I'm paying the same price. So, somewhere something went wrong, and oh, you did? Good, good, good. By the way, what does that do exactly? It said it was supposed to either show what I'm playing or play it. I'm not sure what. Yep, definitely going to invest in a hair dryer. Yeah, I was supposed to, and I had. But in the past couple weeks, it's tanked. Oh. Ah, I see. Okay. So it's not a play follow along then. Alright, let's. In that case, let's switch to. I'm kind of tired of the 80s. Let's go to some classic fantasy type stuff. Two Steps from Hell, all the good guys. Yep, definitely going to invest in an hair dryer. Can't be more than 20 bucks. Actually, I don't even want one that has a heating element. I just want it to blow air to help dry. So maybe I can find one at a secondhand shop where even if it doesn't, have a if the heater doesn't work, but as long as it blows the air through, that's all I want. Just something to help dry. But okay. So this is just the first coat, and as you can see, these little spots here. That's good. That's actually a good thing. We want that. That means it's bonding well to the plastic. Now this, and I do have both. Yeah, I'll definitely. Actually, I'll check Big Lots first, and then Walmart's just actually right across the street. So, but I think I know what color I'm gonna make this. The color that I had a little. Uh, yeah. Sorry about that. Believe it or not, I have it as zoomed in as I can. Let me see if I can lower the camera. I'm not sure how well it picks up, but see like these little. Like these little swirlies here and here. Yep, exactly. Is that you, Mike? Oh, okay. Friend from work, and he always called me all good. He always would tell me all good, man. So that's where I got it. So I've been, since I haven't seen you around, I've been doing this for about a month now. Kind of self-taught. Actually, I am self-taught. Between YouTube videos and online articles is about the only way I've learned how to really do this. But it's a fun little hobby. Oh, hold on just a second. Sorry about that. When the phone call rings, you gotta answer it. Because the only people who call me is family, and it's usually important. But one thing I have learned is if I can do this, anybody can do it. It's actually not as hard as some people make it out to be. Um, just see if I can bring the camera a little lower. Yeah, it's kind of a trade-off between zooming and where I can put my wrists so I can paint and everybody can still see it. So it's short of investing in a really expensive camera, this is about the best I can do. Yeah, she's going to need another coat. Not as bad as the first one. I mean, you can see a lot of it's solidifying now, but there's still a few odd speckles. But I want to give her main body another couple go arounds with my milk chocolate brown that I invented. Um, actually, about a completed is a strong word. um, let's go with worked on. About a dozen. Um, I'll just show some of my prides and joys. Uh, Here's one little orc guy. Grr. Uh, a knight. This one I'm really happy with. He was the first one I kind of just went off on my own. Uh, my tiefling warrior. And this was from earlier tonight. This did not turn out nearly as good as I wanted it to. So that's going in the oopsie. I need to buy a new one. But I learned, and here's a paladin, kind of in a World of Warcraft Alliance colors. Oh yeah, actually I've got a bunch of little skeleton guys I've uh, painted, so I can make like a little action diorama. And there's a few more on the way. Oop, time to add more blue. It's a bit warm in the house, so the paint dries a little faster. That's pretty cool. Yeah, even though I paint fantasy miniatures, there's all types. You just have to find the right company. So my best advice is Google. Google, Amazon, and eBay. That's how I found everything. And when you paint, this type of model miniature is from a company called Reaper Miniatures, um, where they're designed to be painted right out of the box. But for like Civil War miniatures, historical figures, a lot of them are a resin or a pewter metal type. So what you'll need to do before you paint them is get yourself a bottle of this surface primer and just give those a light coat, and it helps the paint stick. Otherwise, if you just paint on bare pewter metal or bare plastic, the paint will just slide off like a, you know, popsicle on a hot sidewalk. Okay, so now a little tacky. Gonna use the no, no, I'm not gonna break that open. What I will 09416. I got a okay. See you soon, Beef Tips. Thanks. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. Ew. That's not just a mist tint, that's just gooey. I wonder if that was supposed to be sapphire blue that just got messed up. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. We're going to switch to the cycle on that one. Mix that with just pure black would be a little too much. Working on the eyes can be difficult. That's okay. Here's the ultimate brush I bought. just to give you a hint as to detail. Here's the brush I've been using. Okay. Here's my normal detail brush. And here's the ultra detail brush. Well, that's a good way. Sounds like a good way to spend a Friday night. Beef tips. I'm happy that you decided to stop by and spend a little bit of Friday evening with me. So thank you. Yep, the company calls it the Psycho, as in you must be psychotic to even think about doing detail work with this. I need to make some more chocolate milk. Yeah, that bristle is, it won't show up in the camera, but here, here's my thumbnail. There's the bristle. Not even, it's just about the length of the cuticle. But if you are interested in miniature painting beef tips, the kit I started off with from this company, which just teaches the basics, which I recommend. I mean, I know it's not Civil War or historical miniatures, but it does teach the basic techniques that apply across the whole field, and I found it on Amazon for 30 bucks. Now what I'm doing is I'm just going over the spots on the uniform that I hit with the blue, and I'm going to use the detail brush on that because I don't want to cover the whole leg again. I just want to cover the spots I got a little too crazy with. And that's the nice thing with painting miniatures. It's very hard to make a mistake, painting wise anyway, because you can just paint over it. It may take a lot of coats, but any mistake can be painted over. Oh, that's pretty cool. And a lot of miniatures painters also will do what's called basing, where they take, let's see here, a miniature and they make these like little plastic bases in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and then they just it depends on the miniature, but for the most part 90% of what I've seen, super Gorilla Glue will do just about everything. Just a few drops. Cures super fast. And then what they'll do is they'll take like crushed up kitty litter, sand, rocks, glue, and let that dry, and they can make ice snow effects with just dry Elmer's glue. There's like little tufts of grass. People make little environments for their figures to stand in. I just base them because some of them they're very big. They're very big, but they have really tiny little bases, so they tend to be a little top heavy. Or as the genie from Aladdin would say, phenomenal cosmic power. Itty bitty living space. And I still have no idea what color I'm going to make this little sash of hers. Yep, and there are tons of YouTube videos. A YouTuber I found named Mini Wargamer Jay, not the letter J, Jay, as a channel where he takes you through step by step the entire process of painting from start to finish on one model, and then and that's like the first 18 videos he did of this tutorial series. Then he's has been going on for like a couple years, so there's like over 150 now, but he uses different colors, different techniques and things to it's just a good resource. Like, well, how do I paint something yellow that doesn't look like something I can't say on a family friendly show? Did my Spotify suddenly go into Mega Man? I don't know what I'm listening to, but it sounds like something straight out of Mega Man. Or even Sonic the Hedgehog, like the Casino Zone. Okay. Darn it, it's an earworm. It's not going to get out of my head. Okay, what is this? This sounds too familiar. Oh, Undertale. Okay, that explains it. That's why it's familiar. It's Undertale. Undertale had such a great score. I've never played it, but it's definitely on one of those on my to play lists. You know, everybody who plays video games has that list of 100 games to play before I die. That's one of them. I don't know what to make that sash. Believe it or not, I have looked for those. Let's try my 4 screen. I've looked for Turtles. I've looked for DC, Marvel, and all I can find are already pre-painted from the manufacturer, not just, here's a blank model put together, go at it. Licensed properties are hard to find miniature-wise. That said, there is a rabbit hole I will be going down eventually for my personal fandom, Star Wars. They have a whole ground force army miniature game just screaming, "Paint me! Paint me!" I don't think I shook that up enough. Oh, I'm sure. I know there are people out there who do that kind of thing. I'm not that good. There we go. Yeah, that's a good color. Let's just break out the base brush. Get a little closer to the camera. That will, I'll just be honest, is going to be a recurring problem. Because I spend more time looking at the figure than the camera, so if I, don't have it in view, just yell. Really, the whole reason I started painting miniatures was I was flipping through channels and I found a show called Painters Guild um, on my streaming service, and it's like when you watch like the cooking channel or the home repair improvement channel or Bob Ross. You start watching it enough, you think, I can do that. If this guy can do it, I can do it. And so I bought the little $30 kit, and things have escalated. So now I'm going to use some leather brown. Because she's got a little leather belt pouch thing. And I'll just use my fine brush because it's just this little spot of white right there. So if I use my regular brush, it's just going to cover over everything. And we don't want that just yet. Obviously, this guy really liked Undertale, whoever set up this playlist. Because I think he just like put the whole soundtrack on and said, "Here you go." Well, so much for that. Just little touch-ups. But the wonderful thing about painting is there's nobody to tell you whether or not it's right or wrong. They can tell you if the technique's right or wrong, but it's all up here, you know. It's what you think it looks right. And, you know, I think that forest green's just a little too blue. I think I'm going to tone it down with just some regular green. The paper towel, the painter's all-purpose helper. That's a bit more what I was thinking. I want a dark green, but not a bluish green. And then last but not least, a little bronze for her sword guard. And I think we'll call it a day for today. Because I gotta wait for her to fully dry before we move on to the next steps. So I want to. So this is about where we'll call it for tonight. And just in case you're wondering, I found this online for $10. It's called the Hobby Holder. If you ever get into miniature painting beef tips, really all you need is just go to the craft store, get some poster tack, sticky tack for and an old pill bottle. Works just as fine. It's just I like this because I can spin it around a little bit. See, I got a little gold on her head. I'm going to try to see if I can't get that wet enough. And then take a dry brush and just wick it away. And then just cover over the oopsie. So I think that's where we're going to call it for tonight. I'm going to give this scarf another coat. But while I do that, I want to thank everybody for coming into the show. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do. I stream painting Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also do video game streams on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm currently playing XCOM because I figure if I'm going to save the world, let's just break hearts while doing it. So, and every once in a while when I just, feel like turning on the computer and painting, there's that too. But if you can't make the live show, there's always, I archive everything, and I also, I'm transferring everything over to a YouTube archive as well. So, she didn't turn out too badly. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with her. And then the next stream, we'll do the detailing work on her. Yeah, it was originally supposed to be all... yeah, I love the hair. I love the pink I came up with for the hair. But I learned a few things. And I won't repeat those. So, what did Master Yoda say in The Last Jedi? Failure is the greatest teacher. So, thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to hit the follow button so that way you can keep up to date with my next shows. I thank you all for joining me, and I wish you a good evening and a very pleasant weekend. Have a good night, everybody.